In the previous lesson, we saw how we can work with the content-aware fill to hide part of the image. So it created kind of a series of images here, like a patch. And we can see these actual images are contained in the folder of the project. So we can also edit those one by one and modify them. If I see in my folder project, you can find here a folder called fill, and inside you find all the frames with the image that the content aware fill generated. So you can work also with Photoshop in combination with the content aware fill. And then we also saw that we can mask part of the image, creating like a blurred layer. And also we can track the movement in the video of an object or of the camera. And also I can stabilize the movement of the camera and make the footage more stable. We're going to continue to talk about masks and how we can use them also in this lesson. And I want to get here a video footage from my folder where we can play around a little bit with the masks. So I'm going to get this footage right here, and I'm going to deactivate the audio first. There you go. So if we start by selecting a layer like this and we go to the shapes, to the vector shapes, we are going to automatically generate a mask, which is going to mask part of the image. Let's go back, Control Z. So if we want to create an actual shape, we need to deselect this and then we can create a shape. Now we can add a mask also on top of that shape. Again, if we select this shape layer, we can choose now to create more shapes, or if we want to create a mask to mask out that layer. So I'm going to continue and choose a mask here to apply to my image here, because I want to show you an effect that can simulate what happens in cameras. So I will go with the ellipse tool, and I will create an ellipse here all around my footage. And what is showing there is the background of my composition. So if I go in the composition settings, I can see that there is a blue color. Now I can change this and make it black. And if I make it black, now if I go in the pen tool, click and hold the left mouse and get the mask feather tool, which is another interesting tool in the mask, I can click there and drag and create a feather. And this is going to create kind of a vignetting effect or vignette that you have usually in the cameras. So you can add that in the entire footage by doing this. Now I'm going to apply the effect on a new layer. So I'm going to go to layer new, and let's do a new solid. Again, I want to do this black or almost black, maybe dark gray. And I want to have the composition size. So it's going to like go over everything here. It's going to override everything. There you go. Now I cannot see anything. Now, if I create holes in this using a mask, I can create kind of a binocular effect or like peep effect. So if I select again the ellipse, I'm going to click, drag, and I will hold the shift key to make it an exact circle and then leave it. Now I can move this around using the select. So I can select it, and be careful here, because if you click on the path, you're going to deform the path. If you don't want to deform the path, double click again, and then you're selecting the entire shape. So I want to place it like right here. And then I want to invert it. When I invert the mask, I get the exact opposite effect. Now I can also subtract, and this is also going to do the opposite. Now I want to create a binocular effect, but first I want to do again a feather of this. I'm going to click and drag and create a little bit of feather. You can also add more points of feather if you don't want like a uniform feather all around. You can add more and more, but I'm going to leave it as it is. Now, if I want to duplicate this object, which is a mask, I can either do Ctrl C, Ctrl V, or also Ctrl D to duplicate, or I can go to Edit and find it also here. So once it's duplicated, again, I want to select it. I want to make sure that I'm selecting just the mask, and I don't want to deform the mask. But again, I will double click and make sure I select the whole pot. And then I'm going to move it aside. Now I hold the shift key to move it exactly on the same axis like that. And I'll make sure that they like overlap in this point. Now let's see what else we can do with the masks. So right now, if I go down here, you can see that I am subtracting with both, but I can also like add with one and subtract with the other, or I can add with both of them, or I can intersect. So I have a different result, or I can do lighten, darken, difference. So there are like different operations you can do with the masks here. So you can try them out and see which one is best for you. Now in this case, I want to subtract both. And again, I can continue to create more masks and create effects with all of them, like intersect in this case, or difference, and so on. You can also do none. And that's gonna stay there without doing actually anything. So I wanna delete this. So you can delete the single points, or again, select the whole pot and delete the whole pot. Now, if I want to animate this effect and this mask, we already saw how we can do that. So I can either go into the mask path and I want to animate this. Let's see, I want to move this. So I will move after I created the first keyframe. And again, make sure that I select the entire object, otherwise it's going to deform it. So in this case, I'm moving just the object. Here, let's see something else. So I'm gonna go to the second mask pot, and I can deform this and animate this deformation. So these are two different ways we can work with this. Now, if we want to move them together, we can just move the entire layer and we can animate the entire binocular effect. So I select the dark gray solid and start to move it around using the transform keys and activating the position. So I'm gonna move like 2 seconds here, and let's say I want to move it like aside like this. Okay, so this is gonna move, but be careful because it's gonna show what's behind the mask here on the edges. So I need to make this a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna click and drag, hold shift to maintain the proportions, make it bigger, and perhaps adjust it slightly. And there you go. Now we have a nice binocular effect. But we can also do more with mask. We can use the mask to cut out part of the image and create, again, kind of an alpha channel similar to the key light or the green screen effect that we saw before. But this time it will not be based on pixels, but it will be based on vector graphics. So I'm gonna turn off this and I'm gonna get a new footage. And this time I will just use a single image to make things a little bit easier. And then we will try also with the moving footage or with a video. So I will get this image from my folder and I will click and drag it inside the composition to make a new layer. And now this is too big, so I wanna just scale it down. And what I want this figure here on the foreground. There you go, this one here. So I want to cut it out. Now, if I add the green screen, I could use the key light. Or if I have like a uniform color, I could use the key light. Or better, if I find a PNG image that doesn't have the background already. But now there is a background and I want to remove it. So how can I do that? Well, let's use a mask again, but this time we're going to use another feature that I'm going to show you. I'm going to use the pen first, and then I activate the Rotobezier. When you activate Rotobezier, it will be easier to track this or let's say trace this profile. So I'm going to start from